We stay right now with the breaking news we've been covering. President Trump is meeting with key senators and members of his national security team at this hour after 4 Americans were killed during an attack in Syria. ISIS claiming responsibility for that attack. We're joined now by North Dakota Senator Kevin Cramer, who sits both on the Budget Committee and the Armed Services Committee. So I did want to begin, Senator, by asking you about this in the context of whether this terrible attack, 4 Americans dead, should change the president's plans at all, or the execution of those plans for getting out of Syria.
Well, first of all, thanks for the opportunity, and my very grateful heart breaks for those service members and their families, and I pray for healing for family members and others that are injured. But it will no doubt ignite the debate about the decision to withdraw. It's a constant reminder that a caliphate, while geographic in nature, doesn't mean the end of ISIS or the end of the ideology, and it's an ongoing fight. What will the president change? I asked that very question here just recently. If there are conditions what those might be that would change his mind on the withdrawal. Right. I don't know what's going on in the meeting right now or what he's thinking. I would say this, though. I think that there will be people on both sides of this argument that will refer to this event and maybe try to make a case for for their position.
So you asked the president, you're saying?
I did not. I asked some others.
Other White House officials, right? Okay. And what was the answer there? I assume that your position, correct me if I'm wrong, is that maybe we're thinking about pulling out too quickly. You're worried about that.
What I think a lot of my colleagues are seeking is clarity on just how secure. For example, will our friends and allies in the region be absent our on-the-ground presence? What exactly is concurrent with withdrawal that should give us comfort that that the area is secure? The Kurds, in particular, and of course, this was they're a big part of what happened today. Are they are we prepared? Are they prepared to hold their ground along with our other coalition forces? My sense is, and I'm encouraged by many of the things that I've heard, that it is a deliberate but also a sensitive withdrawal in the sense that we're still there in spirit, we're still there in equipment, we're still in the region, we're still providing the kind of support, political support that they need to be strong. Whether today's attack changes that or not, it'll certainly cause pause. It does for me, and I'd like a slow withdrawal for sure, but I'd like to know with some great certainty that we are there, and that we aren't not only that we aren't that we're not abandoning our Kurd friends, for example, but that we're not abandoning our influence in the region. Any void that is left for others to fill always makes me a little bit nervous.
Maybe we'll hear more after this meeting on that.
I would expect
in that regard. Just a quick word. We were originally going to talk to you much more about the government shutdown, which we've been talking to everybody about. I know the president essentially disinvited by the Speaker of the House in terms of the State of the Union, which is the big headline today. How does this all get solved? Should the president, for example, maybe think about Lindsey Graham's idea, open up part of the government, negotiate on other elements? We look, your state and others are impacted. 2,400 people in North Dakota impacted by this shutdown, right?
Well, I can tell you I've been hearing from some today, including some that are federal employees that are in the security business, if you will, and who want me to stand my ground and support the president's position, and others who don't. Nearly everybody talks to me from North Dakota wants a secure border. But bifurcating this shutdown from securing the border is, of course, I think the moral high ground that some people are looking for. This still comes down to Donald Trump and Nancy Pelosi. If she's not willing to do more than $1 or to talk about more than $1, then there's not very much to talk about. What do I think about Lindsey Graham's idea? I think it's noble. I think we need to find a way to get Democrats, at least Senate Democrats, and I feel a softening. I sense a softening in their position. Their willingness to talk about funding for a barrier at the border if, in fact, we reopen
Doesn't seem like the president likes that yet, but you never know how things change. But we have to go, Senator, unfortunately, because of time, but we appreciate all your time today. Thank you very much,
My
Senator
pleasure.
Cramer.
Thanks for the opportunity.
You're welcome.